Have you heard? He has a large manhood. I think it's true.
In the heart of Umu village, surrounded by rolling green fields and tall palm trees that whispered secrets to the wind, there lived a young man named Edek. He was known across the land for his strength and diligence. His shoulders were broad from years of farming, his hands rough from honest labor, and his eyes carried a quiet intelligence that made elders nod in approval. Whenever a roof needed fixing or a widow required help on her farm, Edek was the first to arrive. On the surface, he seemed blessed in every way. But beneath his calm exterior, he carried a burden that no one truly understood. As a teenager, Edek noticed something unusual about himself. While other boys matured quietly into manhood, his own physical development set him apart in a way that filled him with confusion and anxiety. At first, he convinced himself it was nothing. A phase. Something that would correct itself with time. But as years passed, he realized it would not change. When he finally courted a young woman he deeply admired, he approached her with respect and patience. She admired his character and agreed to be with him. Yet when they tried to become intimate, fear and pain replaced excitement. The experience ended in tears, and by the next morning, the story had spread like wildfire through Umu. Whispers followed him to the marketplace. Women who once smiled at him avoided his gaze. Mothers pulled their daughters aside when he passed. Even some of his friends began to treat him differently, unsure of what to say. It was not cruelty that wounded him most. It was the quiet distance. Years rolled by. He watched as his friends married and celebrated fatherhood. Drums beat at wedding ceremonies while he stood at the edge of gatherings, clapping politely, hiding the ache in his chest. Loneliness settled into his bones like harmattan dust. His parents, heartbroken by their son's isolation, sought help everywhere. They traveled to herbalists in distant towns. They spent money they could barely afford on mixtures and prayers. Bottles of bitter liquid lined their small wooden shelf. Nothing worked. Edek began to believe he was destined to live alone. To silence his thoughts, he buried himself in work. He carved beautiful wooden stools and masks that amazed the elders. He repaired broken fences and built storage huts. The more the village rejected him in private matters, the more he served them publicly. Yet service did not erase the longing for companionship. One quiet evening, an elderly woman named Mama Enie visited his home. She was known throughout Umu for her wisdom and gentle spirit. After listening to his parents explain everything, she asked to speak with Edek alone. She looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "My son," she said softly, "the world often reduces people to their differences. But a man's true measure is not found in what embarrasses him. It is found in how he chooses to live despite it." Edek lowered his eyes. "You have allowed shame to speak louder than your character," she continued. "But your kindness, your strength, your devotion to this village, those are the things that define you. Whether others see it or not." Her words did not solve his condition. But they planted something inside him. A small seed of dignity. From that day forward, Edek stopped chasing approval. He focused instead on becoming the best version of himself. He organized farming groups to help struggling families. He trained younger boys in carpentry. He visited elders regularly, listening to their stories and offering assistance. Slowly, the narrative around him began to shift. The gossip did not disappear, but admiration resurfaced. People began to see his heart again. Then one season, a new family moved into Umu. Among them was a young woman named Oyin. She carried herself with quiet strength. Her eyes held the depth of someone who had endured hardship and survived it. Unlike others, she did not grow up hearing the whispers about Edek. They met during a community harvest gathering. Oyin noticed how respectfully he spoke to elders and how gently he guided children away from danger during the festivities. She was curious. They began speaking casually at first. Conversations about farming. about life in neighboring villages, about dreams that felt too heavy to speak aloud. For the first time in years, Edek felt seen as a man, not a rumor. As their friendship deepened, he wrestled with fear. He knew that eventually, the truth would surface. One evening, under the soft glow of moonlight, he told her everything. He spoke without hiding, without minimizing, without exaggerating. He waited for the familiar look of discomfort. It did not come. Instead, Oyin reached for his hand. "Do you think love is only one thing?" she asked gently. "Do you think intimacy is only defined by what people expect?" He remained silent. "There are many ways for two people to share closeness," she continued. "Trust, patience, creativity, understanding. What matters is willingness." Her response stunned him. For the first time, someone did not treat his condition as a curse or a spectacle. She treated it as a challenge to navigate together. Their relationship grew slowly. They communicated openly. They learned each other's boundaries and desires. They discovered that emotional connection, tenderness, and mutual care created a fulfillment deeper than either had imagined. When news of their engagement spread, the village buzzed once again. Some doubted. Some whispered. But many watched with curiosity. On their wedding day, the entire village gathered. Drums echoed into the hills. Mama Enye smiled knowingly from her seat among the elders. As Edek stood beside Oyin, he felt something he had never known before. Not just love, but acceptance. Not just acceptance from her, but from himself. Years passed. Their home became known as a place of warmth and wisdom. Young couples sought their counsel. People who once gossiped now spoke of their resilience. The story that began in shame transformed into one of compassion and perspective. Edek's condition never changed. But his identity did. He was no longer defined by whispers. He was defined by courage, service, and the love he built through vulnerability and honesty. And Umu learned something powerful. True worth cannot be measured by physical perfection. It is revealed through character, perseverance, and the courage to be seen fully. If this story touched your heart, do not scroll away. Like this video to support more meaningful stories. Share it with someone who needs hope. And subscribe for powerful tales that remind us that our differences do not disqualify us from love or happiness. Your story is not over.